Hello everyone, and welcome to round 5 of our 6-event 2013 Mopar Canadian National Road Racing Championships from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, just northeast of Toronto, Ontario. I'm your series announcer, Frank Wood, and today we're covering the second Pro Feature race of our big doubleheader weekend of Mopar Pro Feature race action from Sunday, August the 11th. The 5th Superbike National of the 2013 Csbk season is presented by Dealey Harley-Davidson Canada, Honda Canada, and Mopar.
Bikes are off.
We'll start things off by introducing our grid, starting at row 2. Starting from 7th position on the one-stop dealer shop, an Andres BMW sponsored machine, number 265, Chris Murray O'Dane. Alongside him, from 6th position in the middle of row 2, mounted on the Honda Canada Genix Incorporated sponsored Honda CBR 1000 RR, number 71, Christopher Garvey. Now scheduled to start alongside him, yesterday's race winner, scoring his first Mopar Superbike National Championship win on the number 151 machine, in from Warman, Saskatchewan, his first visit to the CSBK series this year, with support from Charles Antel and F-Fun Motorsports of Warman, Saskatchewan, number 151, Bodie Eady. Now our front row. On the outside of the front row, on the Rider's Choice Dane Easy Leather sponsored machine, the Mississauga Missile, number 13, Matt McBride. Alongside him on the number 20 machine, the Honda Canada Accelerated Technology sponsored number 20, Jody Christie. Starting from 2nd position, second fastest qualifier, of course, on the Kenwood Electronics Parts Canada sponsored Suzuki GSX-R 1000 that wears the number 7, Big Al, Alex Welsh. And on the pole, the People's Champion, number 1 plate holder from 2012, the BMW Motorrad and Parts Canada sponsored rider from Brantford, Ontario, Jordan Zook. That is your field for this 20-lap Mopar Pro Superbike National Championship final. Okay, our riders now have completed their warm-up lap. Now they're forming on the grid. They're being held in position, of course, with the red flag. Our starter, Chris Chappell, standing on the pit wall, ready to ignite those lights. Those lights will do a countdown. You've probably watched this Mopar Superbike racing before on CSBK TV. You'll know the starting procedure. Chappelle will raise the red flag, then bring it down. Then he'll raise his left hand, which controls the lights, and then bring that down behind his back so that none of the riders can see him ignite those lights. The lights will begin their countdown, and then the field becomes full, and then all of a sudden all of the lights go off. Here's Chappelle now, red flag up and down. Starting procedure is underway. The lights begin to blink on. Now all of the lights are on. We wait for them to go off, and the riders have launched now. Jody Christie, I believe Jody Christie has gotten the clutch out first. He's pulled the trigger on that one, and Christie sprints into the lead, I believe, as we watch from the main control tower here now at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It is Christie with Zoke running in 2nd spot as they go up underneath the Sport Check overhead bridge there at turn 2 for the very first time. Now they dive down into turn 2. Some of the riders going very, very close to the outside there to the turtles and that runoff area. Now piling in through turn 3, and it looks like we've had a good clean run through that area of the race course. They're coming now in towards the Continental Bridge and down turn 4, making that dive down in towards Moss's Corner. And as they get down there, Christie and Zoke, and also Welsh is looking around there to see if he can find a way through. Battling it out now down at Moss's Corner. He'll get things squared away. And down the straightaway they come, or up the straightaway in this case, as it is an uphill climb, and indeed Christie is the first one we see coming underneath the Canadian Tire Bridge into turn number 8. We're going to give him about 2 bike lengths over Zoke, but Zoke has some very close company there, and I believe it's Alex Welsh has taken the lead. Welsh has taken the lead here now over Jordan Zoke, Jody Christie, Matt McBride, and I believe that's Sebastian Tremblay in 4th. Yeah, the shaker has moved up to 4th on that number 24 BMW. Sebastian Tremblay having a great run up towards the front there. as he had started this race from way back on the third row in 8th position on the Moto Nation Motorsportquebec.com number 24 machine, and running 4th when last they came past the main control tower here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Right now the pack is going through turn 3, Quebec corner as we know it. Coming out of that corner, of course, they're banked over for a long time. Now they're heading down towards the Continental Bridge once more. Underneath the bridge they will go down into turn number 4. A downhill dive down there, and as we've mentioned a number of times on CSBK TV, that is one of the spots on this race course where they really get those disc brakes howling coming down into Moss's corner. That is true also at the end of the Mario Andretti straightaway coming into turn 8, which is the next time we'll see them coming up over the hill there onto the rise. It comes up into a little bit of a flat surface there, and Christie is the first one we see come into sight with Welsh in the race lead. My apologies, Alex Welsh on the number 7 Kenwood Electronics Parts Canada sponsored Suzuki GSXR 1000 with the Parts Canada BMW Motorrad sponsored Zoke running in 2nd spot. Matt McBride, and right now that front running group consists of our aliens once more, Zoke, Christie, and Welsh. And of course the bad news item is that Bodie Eady was unable to compete in this. Bodie Eady having mechanical difficulties on the number 151 machine, he hailing out of Warman, Saskatchewan, and Eady mounted on the Charles Antel and FF Fun Motorsports sponsored machine out of Warman, Saskatchewan, and that is Heartbreak Hotel for that young man as he scored his first Mopar Pro Superbike Championship win here just yesterday, and unfortunately not even able to turn a wheel here today. So heartbreak for Bodie Eady, and I know a lot of fans will be disappointed in that. A very likable young man scoring his first win. Here we go again, and Christie now has fallen off the pace somewhat as Zoke and Welsh now those two riders running in close proximity to one another. Welsh guarding the line coming out of turn 9. He has no intentions of letting Zoke by at any point in this race. And it looks like a big moment there for Matt McBride in the 4th position, running in behind Jody Christie, as Sebastian Tremblay and Christopher Garvey holding on to that 6th spot. Thank you very much for that. We had lost track of that one. Garvey on that number 71 machine, who scored his first pro podium appearance just yesterday in the Hindle Exhaust sponsored Pro Sport Bike class. He rode his Honda CBR 600 the 2nd spot in that race, and that has given him a little bit of inner fire, a little bit inner fuel to urge him on in this Superbike race as well. 71 Garvey on the Genix sponsored entry started from 6th position and is presently running in 5th. Okay, our race leaders now working Mosses down at turn 5 on this course, a 10-corner race course with Mosses perhaps one of the more well-known corners in Canadian motorsports for a certainty. Now at the end of the back straightaway, the Mario Andretti straightaway, Welsh continues to lead. We'll give him a slight, maybe a bike and a half, perhaps 2 bike lengths lead as they come into turn number 8. Zoke running in 2nd spot. Christie holds on to 3rd. McBride is getting closer to Christie. McBride looks to the inside. Matt McBride has passed into 3rd spot. Matthew McBride has put the Day and Easy Leathers Rider's Choice sponsored BMW 1000 solidly into 2nd spot. So we got a Suzuki up front, 2 BMWs, and then a Honda running in that order. Garvey has made a pass. He's moved into 6th spot now. Garvey is the man on the move on the 71 machine. We talked about him as we pick up an Austin Shaw O'Leary, very much over horsepowered in this race, as the rest of the vast majority of the rest of the riders in this contest are riding the full liter 1000cc motorcycles, whereas Austin Shaw O'Leary is battling it out on that 600cc Yamaha, which is limited to 125 horsepower compared to the 190 horsepower beasts that Zoke and Christie and Welsh are enjoying the horsepower of. Right now our race leaders coming up the Mario Andretti straightaway, and this is where all that horsepower is put to the ground, down into those Pirelli slicks that gives them the gription to get up and go up that hill, up the Mario Andretti straightaway. We watch from the tower here to the Canadian Tire overhead bridge as Welsh and Zoke come by glued as one. Christie has repassed Matthew McBride now. Zoke has taken the lead on Welsh, so 2 passes on that lap. Zoke going into the lead over Welsh, and Christie moving into 3rd spot over Matthew McBride, and things are really starting to tighten up now as the shaker Tremblay and then Garvey running in that order and trying to keep pace, I should say, with the leading group. Chris Murray O'Dane on the 265 machine, leading the number 711 of Franklin Dominguez coming past the tower, and our final rider in the field, as we've mentioned before, the number 110 machine of Pro Cycle Golo Racing's Austin Shaw O'Leary. Now, Kenwood Electronics sponsored Parts Canada rider number 7 Alex Welsh and Jordan Zoke, the nation's champion, have just made their way through turn 3. McBride and Christie in close proximity to them as they make their charge once more down in towards Moss's Corner, underneath the Continental Bridge, and down into the double apex 5A and B. We know it as Moss's. Now working their way up the back straightaway, up and over the ridge, now approaching the Canadian Tire Bridge. Here comes Zoke with Welsh glued to him. Welsh makes the inside pass, a beautiful move going into turn 8. Alex Welsh leaving his braking till the last moment and tucking it right on the inside of the nation's champion. Zoke has been shunted back into second spot in this contest. Christie still holds on to third as Welsh squirting ahead now of Zoke. And Matthew McBride passes once more. McBride now has moved into third spot ahead of Christie. A beautiful move. And J.C. Tremblay now. Tremblay is all over them, as is Garvey. We have got a four-way battle now going on for third spot. Zoke and Welsh up front. But Christie has got company coming. And I don't know if he left the lid off the teapot or what's going on, but he's got a lot of company coming in through the back door right now. Jody Christie on the number 20 machine, the Accelerated Technologies Honda Canada sponsored rider, battling it out with McBride, the Mississauga missile on that BMW 1000 RR, who enjoys the support of Day and Easy Leathers and Rider's Choice of Mississauga, Ontario. A great battle on the go here as they're working now down in towards Moss's Corner, making their way out of that combination corner and up the back straightaway once more. They, like the rest of the riders in these contests, tucking down in behind the plexiglass, the fairing, getting their knees in tight to the gas tank and their toes up on the footrest, making themselves small, making themselves aerodynamic. And just look now as Zoke and Welsh are starting to get some very serious distance here. I'm going to put like 30, 40. Oh my goodness, this is a long distance between the leader, Alex Welsh, Big Al on the Suzuki GXXR 1000, and Jordan Zoke. Then we have Christie, McBride, Garvey, Tremblay running in that order. Marie-José Boucher on the number 83 machine, the Andrus sponsored machine, the Andrus BMW, and Nelson Power sponsored young lady out of Montreal. Actually, she's out of Quebec City right now, has relocated, but out of La Belle Province, and making her first appearance on the 2013 Mopar Canadian Superbike Championship Series. And wouldn't you know, she'd make her appearance here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. She's just gotten back from Catalunya, by the way, and where she was a member of a four-rider ladies team that won their division in the 24-hour race there, and of course riding on a 600cc Honda. Now off the back straightaway once more. Zoke has taken your race lead over Alex Welsh. And Welsh and Zoke swapping back and forth here throughout this contest. Number 1 and number 7 dicing it out here for the race lead. Zoke leads right now. Look at this train that Christie's towing behind him. McBride, Garvey, Tremblay, and Trombino, I think that is. We'll get a correct reading on that. Frank Trombino on the number 31 bike. We're getting a confirmation that Royal Plumbing FDS Racing sponsored Warlord Frank Trombino is indeed amongst that group of riders tailing in behind Jody Christie. So Christie's got a train running behind him, and Frank Trombino is on one of those cars on that train. Austin Shaw O'Leary, the last one to come past the tower, which means that our race leaders are very likely down in towards Moss's Corner right now, and starting to make their way up the back straightaway. But Zoke and Welsh have become aliens on their own on this day. Throughout this season, Zoke, Welsh, and Jody Christie have done this. The top 3 riders have disappeared from those who pursue, but this time around Christie has not been able to stay with the other 2 aliens, and this time around he's fighting off the lesser humans, as it were, as they battle out for that final podium position. And it's going to be a battle, take it right down to the end of the line. Zoke leads over Welsh. Welsh takes a very wide line on the entrance of turn 10, tucks it right in behind that BMW, and now here comes that battle for third. Matt McBride over Christie, over Tremblay, over Garvey, and Frank Trombino, and they are running that closely together as quick. There's Matt Cooper now in the Bain Machine Racing number 196 machine as he pulls it out onto the front straightaway here. And I believe that's Scott Rupert as well in the 396 machine. Trombino running back of that group there. He just may be able to catch a big draft off the large group of riders that are tailing in behind Christie. And this is most unusual to see Christie defending that third place position. He's going to have to scramble and work very hard with that Honda CBR 1000 as put under him by Accelerated Technologies. John Sherrard massaging that motorcycle for Christie. He's already won 1 Superbike race this year with it and put it on the podium a couple of times, although he did crash out of yesterday's race in pursuit of the race leaders. Now we pick up on our race leaders, speaking of which, Welsh and Zoke. Those 2 riders, Welsh on the Suzuki, of course, and Zoke on the BMW. Zoke with the race lead just now. And off the back straightaway, we watch the action behind them. Here comes Zoke and Welsh through turns number 10. Welsh right behind Zoke, and I think Zoke actually looked back, and I haven't seen that happen in a long time. Christie now holding on to third spot. Sebastian Tremblay, the rookie of the year from last year, sitting back in 4th spot. McBride holds on to 5th. Garvey is 6th, and in his 7th position is the warlord Frank Trombino on that number 31 Aprilia V4. What a sweet sounding motorcycle that is. And can the warlord mix it up in this batch of riders here? There's a distinct possibility. He's got a stone throw at this one to be able to put that Aprilia on the Superbike podium. James Collins and the rest of the crew from the Warlords pit area have been working very hard over the last couple of days. We're here on Thursday for the track day. Friday, of course, they worked extremely hard through the practice sessions and then through yesterday's qualifying and what have you. And now it looks that they've finally got that Aprilia to the point that it may contend to the point that they may be able to put it on the podium. We'll see how it plays out. Right now, we've got a 5-way battle for 3rd spot that has to be sorted. Race leader Zoke comes up off the back straightaway into turn number 8 with Alex Welsh glued to his back fender. They have got such a lead that they're now coming through turn 9 and setting themselves up for turn 10 before the final riders come off the back straightaway in that classic battle for 3rd spot that we spoke about earlier on. And it continues on. And Christie, oh my goodness gracious, Christie has been shunted way back. Tremblay has moved into 3rd spot. McBride is 4th. Frank Trombino just passed Garvey and Christie right in the middle of the corner there and has moved up into 6th spot. Trombino is the man on the move. We were talking about it. The warlord has got a burr under his saddle, and he is really putting the power to the ground on that Aprilia V4. Up into turn 2 they go now. Your race leaders are up in Quebec corner. That's Welsh and Zoke peeling through turn 3 right now as the rest of the riders in pursuit coming out of turn 2 and now entering turn 3 as well. Race leaders are under the Continental Bridge and making their way down in towards Mosses. The 2-way battle between Alex Welsh and Jordan Zoke has been going on since lap 1 and it continues at this point. So a huge battle for that final podium spot, assuming that Welsh and Zoke will keep it upright throughout this contest. Zoke continues to lead as they come up underneath the Canadian Tire Bridge off the Mario Andretti straightaway into turn number 8, the right-hand high-speed corner, then a flick over into the left-hander that is 9, the final right-hand turn that brings him onto the front straightaway. Look at Welsh. I think Welsh has got a game plan here. Welsh is going to sit back behind Zoke and save it all until the very last lap is my prediction here. Welsh will save it till the last lap and get it done in turn 10. Trombino now into 4th place. McBride is 5th. Garvey is 6th. And Jody Christie has fallen all the way back to 7th position. Jody Christie well off the pace now. The former alien in previous races now finds himself desperately struggling to try to make up some room, to try to battle back, and to try to put that Honda on the podium. Boy, Christie has got his work cut out for him over the last few laps of this racetrack. Picking up on some of the race action in amongst the followers as Franklin Dominguez and Chris Murray O'Dane continue their personal duel, and O'Leary, the Nova Scotia speedster, having a very lonely ride out there as he competes on a 600cc motorcycle. Oh my goodness gracious, Big Al Welsh. I believe Welsh was actually leading coming up the back straightaway there, and Zoke just put the pass on him. They were side by side as we glanced over to them towards the Canadian Tire overhead flag. Now there's Welsh there, glued right behind Zoke. So look at him. Welsh has definitely got a game plan happening here, and he's going to play it smart. I think he's shown him a wheel a couple of times, maybe passed him to show that it can be done, maybe demoralizing him just a bit. The battle for third continues. Tremblay, Trombino, McBride, Garvey, and then Christie. Matt Cooper on the 196 machine following through there as well, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cooper and the rider in front of him, I'm misidentifying that rider, unfortunately, lap around, but Cooper and he are on such a pace out here that I believe that's going to carry them towards the front-running groups that are fighting it out here. Now, obviously, Zoke and Welsh are in category on their own. They are the aliens on this day. But nonetheless, the great battle that's going on for third spot, as we are predicting that perhaps it will include Matt Cooper over the next couple of laps here, as Cooper on the Bain Machine Racing machine has really closed up the distance between himself and the 5 riders that are battling it out for a third spot there. We'll pick up on that action next time around. This time around, it's Welsh that comes off the back straightaway with the race lead. The Parts Canada Kenwood Electronics sponsored Suzuki GSXR 1000 with help from Z1 Cycletech. They seem to have that motorcycle working very well here indeed, and Welsh suffering a number of frustrating difficulties that have kept him on the lower steps of the podium thus far. He has not enjoyed a Superbike race win here since his last event here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. McBride moves in the side of Tremblay in turn 10. The number 13 machine passing the number 24 machine going to 10, and now Tremblay tries to return the favor going into 1, but there's no room, and McBride slams a door on the Quebec rider. The Pro Rookie of the Year from last year has been held in position as McBride has got third spot right now. Tremblay running in fourth spot. Trombino, I believe, was in fifth when they last went by, but the battle between McBride and Tremblay really heating up here. This is McBride's favorite racetrack. Heck, this is a lot of riders' favorite racetrack. And we are so pleased to be back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park once more this year. The doubleheader weekend has become quite traditional, as a matter of fact. Over the years, we always like to end our season with these huge doubleheaders. That has been the norm in the past. Looking to the back straightaway once more as O'Leary comes past the tower. Our race leaders are now entering turn 8. Welsh was in the lead, and it still enjoys the lead by about half a bike length at times, and sometimes a lot less. We'll give him 2, 3, 4 bike lengths on the exit of turn 10 that time around. McBride got a big moment there, and Trombino was sitting back there in the 31. The 13 machine getting into a bit of a wobble there, and the number 31 machine of Trombino having the best seat in the house to watch that. Trombino hoping to capitalize on that perhaps next time around. McBride got in there perhaps just a little too hot. Very intense and very keen on putting that rider's choice, Day and Easy Leather sponsored S1000 RR BMW on the podium. How it plays out remains to be seen. Who's going to win this race remains to be seen, as we're now in the lower sections of the countdown in terms of laps. This has been a 20-lap final for the Mopar Pro Superbike National Championship final, but we are winding down on this one. O'Leary now on his own, and here comes once more the Kenwood Electronics sponsored Alex Welsh, and Alex had a bit of a moment there in turn 10, and Zoke capitalized it capitalized on it rather on the entrance of turn 1. So Jordan Zoke, the nation's champion, number 1 plate holder, has taken the race lead once more. Battle for third continues. Battle for third continues as Tremblay holding off McBride, Garvey, and Trombino. So that charge by Trombino has been stalled just a bit, and the Warlord has not made any more progress since the last lap around here. Welsh has your race lead going underneath the Continental Bridge as they make their way down turn 4 and down in towards Moss's Corner once more. Welsh on the number 7 machine, the Suzuki GSXR 1000 that we mentioned that Willie Voss has had his hands in. Willie flying in from Western Canada on a regular basis to work as Alex Welsh's crew chief, and joined this weekend by Zed Salimi from Z1 Cycle Tech out of Toronto. Zed Salimi and Alex Welsh worked together before. We'll pick up on our race leaders now. I'll tell you that story in a minute. Race leaders now coming off the back straightaway into turn 8. Zoke and Welsh, and they'll be coming up on lap traffic very soon. Zoke has the race lead, and Welsh is right in his tire tracks. He's not showing them a wheel, although it looks as though he may be able to. But he is not showing them a wheel as they peel off into turn 1 once more. The nation's champion, Zoke, the people's champion, with the race lead. And if I'm not mistaken, we're down into the last 3 or 4 laps now. McBride on the inside of Tremblay, and Tremblay is the one that gets into the bit of the wobble coming out of turn 10. McBride very wisely moving slightly to riders right off the racing line, and that gave Tremblay nowhere to go but to stack it in behind him and follow him into turn 1. And as they make their way up now under the Sport Check sign and into turn 2, they remain in those positions. McBride running in 3rd spot. Tremblay holds on to 4th. Garvey, I believe, is in 5th with Trombino running in 6th. But your race leaders have already cleared out and are headed down into the valley all by themselves. That is, of course, Big Al, Alex Welsh, and Jordan Zoke, the nation's champion 8 times, over 40 national championship Superbike wins to his credit. And I think he has in mind that he would like to leave this place, this Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, with one more win. Remember last year in the doubleheader weekend here, Zoke did not score a win. He was on podium both times, but it was Kevin Lacombe who won on the Saturday, and Alex Welsh who won on the Sunday last year. This year around, Bodie Eady yesterday scoring his first national championship win, but sadly being out of competition on this day. So Zoke has got one more stab at the cat, as it were. Now here's the action for that 3rd place position as JC Tremblay, McBride, Garvey, Trombino, Trevor Daly, and then Jody Christie. Matt Cooper on the 196 machine. These are the machines as they pass the main control tower here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The battle for 3rd spot now has gone into the 3rd corner, Quebec corner, as a matter of fact. Those riders going through there stacked up very close and wheel to wheel. Some of the slower riders now are coming through 8, 9, and 10. Franklin Dominguez struggling a bit. They had to put a motor in that bike overnight, so he may be at a slight disadvantage with that bike, but fortunately there goes Marie-Josée Boucher and Chris Murray-O'Dane on the 265 bike. And now your race leaders have been picked up coming underneath the Canadian Tire Bridge into turns 8 and 9. The rider that is running in 3rd spot on the track right now has actually been a lapped rider, so Zoke leads it, and it looks like the last lap flag is coming out. This is it, 10 more corners to go. Zoke with the lead. Welsh runs in 2nd spot. One more lap to go for the race win. One more lap to go for the final podium position, and we'll watch that action as well. Zoke stretching it out just slightly as they go in underneath the Sport Check Bridge, and the battle for 3rd continues here. McBride has been back to 4th spot. Tremblay holds on to 3rd, then Garvey Trombino, I should say, Daly and Christie. Jody Christie way back. This is a most disappointing ride for Jody Christie, and Honda fans around this track will be disappointed on his behalf. Nonetheless, he's keeping it upright and he's bringing it home. He'll grab whatever points he can for this in what is a desperate run to try to catch Zoke. But Zoke with this, assuming he brings this thing home upright over the next lap, whether he's 1st or 2nd, this will do it. This will capture the number 1 plate for the 9th time for the man from Brantford, and I believe it'll be his 42nd or 43rd National Championship Superbike win. Right now, Zoke is working up the back straight. Here comes Welsh. Welsh has made the pass on Zoke. Alex Welsh making the pass on Zoke going into turn 8. Now they stack it up coming into turn 9. Welsh still has the lead. He gives it a big squirt of Suzuki horsepower. There's no room to the inside. Alex Welsh is on his way to his 2nd National Championship win in Mopar Canadian Superbike National Championship. We're going to head down to that Superbike podium and celebrate with our top 3 finishers. Alex Welsh has won his 2nd National Championship Canadian Mopar Superbike Championship win. What an absolute thriller.
Oh, obviously the race was fantastic. I just disgusted with myself to come here 2 years in a row without a win. It's just a horrible feeling. I got to wait a year to come back here. I want to win here more than anywhere else. I'd rather, sometimes I think I'd rather win here than even the championship. It means that much to me. But we were still right there in the championship. I can't complain about that. It's just a bit disappointing having to go to Tremblant and not being able to maybe battle for the win, but to concentrate on the championship. I wanted to go there and battle. It's such an amazing track as well. But I can't be too disappointed. The crew and the team have been awesome all year.
Alex Welsh, congratulations. You did it last Sunday, or last year rather, on the Sunday. You've done it again. How do you feel, kid?
Yeah, I'm over the moon. We've had such a rough year with just strange things happening, and I put my guys through the trenches every single weekend trying to fix oddball stuff. So we've left the races a lot of times frustrated, but I knew coming in this weekend that we'd have a good shot, and yesterday, unfortunately, it didn't. We looked good yesterday, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I'm super happy to get it done today.